It's got a bit battered as we were travelling. It kept being squashed into a suitcase. I tried to lose it several times but didn't achieve it, so I still got it, but got squashed. um, there is when I came back, I hadn't whilst we were away, I wasn't able to access my Yahoo account. I know I've been clearing my throat for ages. I'm sorry. Um, I wasn't able to access my Yahoo account, and when I got into it when we came back, whilst I was still jet lagging, I'd been contacted by somebody whose name I can't remember about not a collaboration. Well, actually, somebody did contact me about a collaboration. I didn't really understand it, but I declined politely. But another company had contacted me about sending me stuff to review, which again I declined politely because that's not what I'm about, and it would mean I couldn't say fuck if I was doing that sort of thing. If I started reviewing stuff, and I'm not that sort of channel. My son is that sort of channel. You know, he's a big channel and he does review stuff, but that is the channel. That's how it worked, and that's where not where he started, but that's where he evolved to. So yeah, he does that, but I won't do that. And I was thinking about the sponsorships that people do, and the reviews that people do, and the gifts that people receive on channels for, you know, we'll give you this if you test it. And remembering that I'd read, probably on Tattle, that there's a new law been passed in France about all of the earnings from YouTube, including the grifted stuff, including the sponsorships, including the free gifts. You know, if you, I suppose everybody got one of those power battery packs that I paid for. I keep saying that I paid for in October. The EcoFlow thing. I suppose everybody got sent one of those to review. I don't know how EcoFlow didn't contact me. But so all of that's got to be declared on your income tax returns. So I think that that's going to change a lot for many of the channels who have a bit of income from the grifting, as it's called. Don't know what the definition is for that, and I don't know where it's come from. I know it's used a lot on social media. So yeah, that's going to change things for a lot of people who rely on that a lot. And thankfully, because nobody's asked me, nobody sent me anything for review, it won't change anything for me at all. We've been to the surgery this morning to see the doctor regarding Mark's knees, and he's given him a referral for knee surgery. He says that's the next step. I think we sort of knew that. I think Mark was hopeful there might be an intermediate step, but there isn't. So he's been put forward. He's gonna. We have to follow up. When you get a referral here, you get a letter that you then contact the surgeon and make the secretary and make the appointment, and follow that up yourself. Your doctor just writes the letter. He doesn't do any more, which I quite like. There isn't that whole thing between doctors and consultants talking to each other as if you don't exist. You're very much included here. It's very inclusive. My consultant, my rheumatologist, will sit with me, do my appointment, and then she'll sit and write to my doctor using her voice recognition software. She'll write to my doctor in front of me, and I get a copy of that letter so I can bring it home and translate it, which is helpful. But it's like, it's inclusive. You bring home, you have all of your any tests you have, blood results you get through the post, x-rays you bring home, file and lose. All of that is, you know, it's inclusive, and I really like that. So anyway, that's on the cards for Mark. I don't know how quickly that will work out. We've been able to choose a local town. We've been able to choose Memorion for his surgery, which surprised me. I'm just checking out now if anybody else knows about the surgery in Memorion, and you know whether it's recommended or not. But it's ideal for me. It's like 20 minutes down the road, and yeah, easy access. parking's not great, but easy access so that I can go in and out rather than drive into Poitiers and try and park in the massive hospital parking there. So that's a good thing. Whilst we were sitting in the waiting room, there were several people in there, and a young woman arrived and sat down and was immediately on her phone and spent, I mean, we sat there half an hour waiting for our appointment. He was running late. He always is late. And she was on her phone constantly. And then a mum came in with her son, who was about 7, very shy boy, but I could see mum was quite shy as she walked in. She looked really shy. And they sat down, and he kept his back to all of the waiting room for a good 5 minutes or so before he gradually settled down and let himself sit. But she sat on her phone and ignored him, and he sat playing with his fingers and his thumbs, and for 20 minutes or so, not a word was spoken between them. At one point she did put her phone down and looked at him, but he ignored her. I suppose his experience is that she ignores him, so he ignores her. And I'm thinking, well, what the fuck does this go on at home? It's like, it's awful. And eventually he was sitting on the chair and his legs were beginning to swing, and I was thinking, a boy of that age has got all this unspent energy that he needs to release. And I'm thinking, if he'd sat there another 20 minutes, what would he have been doing? And then I was thinking about my grandson when he was that age and thinking, oh my God, I can imagine. I can remember when my dad died, which was 2011. So Charlie would have been 3, 4. And we were eating a meal in the evening, and my son and his wife and the boys were there. And Charlie was poking up in here like this, and what's this, Nan? Nan, what's that? Nan, what's this? What's that? Constant. So probably the other end of the spectrum, but this boy just didn't utter a word. It was just fascinating. So then another young man came in, probably, I don't know, late teens, early 20s, immediately got his phone out and sat down and started looking at that. So you'd got the young girl and the young man both on their phones, ignoring everybody, ignoring each other. And I thought, what if she's the woman you're meant to meet? What if this is your soulmate that you're meant to actually encounter, but you're both so stuck into your phone you're not noticing each other? And I was thinking, if mobile phones had been around when my kids were young, I would have been doing exactly the same thing. So I can't judge. I know that I would have done exactly the same thing. And I'm horrified because we're all being dumbed down by mobiles and all of that being dumbed down. I don't think it's a conspiracy. A lot of people believe it is a conspiracy. I don't believe it's a conspiracy. I think it's just an evolution and what's happened. And interested that Steve Jobs wouldn't let his kids have phones, wouldn't let his kids use laptops. Somehow he knew he could see into the future. So that's been our morning, and we're going to go, when Mark's finished siestering, I didn't quite achieve siesta. When he's finished siestering, we've got to go out the back in the heat and attack, if we can, and move the 3 big lumps of bamboo that he took out with the digger for the microstation. They're massive. I don't know how we're going to move them, but we need to move them before the gardener comes tomorrow to cut the grass, because you've seen me walk around there a couple of times. It cuts you right off. It makes it really difficult to navigate. There's already that big tree laying across the garden, but otherwise the other trees are at the edges or the corners, so they're not a problem. It's just there's the big tree, then there's the clumps of bamboo. If we can move the clumps of bamboo, he should be able to get past, which will be a good thing, because at the moment he won't be able to. I've got to leave him a note and tell him not to mow down my wildflowers, because we won't be here. If he comes in the morning, we won't be here. We go off to the tax office. So that's another lump to get over, the tax office. Once I get over that hump, that'll be a great relief. And I talk in a previous video about have done the tax and about, you know, we shouldn't be paying income tax because it's paid before we come, before it gets here. And I know that there will be people that are, because people have been angry with me before. So this isn't just me being intuitive. It's I know what I've had before. Yes, I don't pay tax here. I pay cotistation on my YouTube earnings. I don't pay tax here because it gets taken before we receive our pension. But all of our income is invested locally. All of our income goes into France. So, yeah, don't bother shouting at me because I am spending money in France. Um, and that's the way it is. So actually, both countries get something. So the people that are angry with me for pissing off with my pension, all of my tax on my pension is paid into the UK. So you can fuck off. And the people in France, all of my income, all of our income, is used locally. So you can fuck off as well. There. And this video was not. This vlog was not sponsored by anybody. And there are no gifts. Just a pussycat who came to sit next to me and got stroked. Hey. Yeah, so there. Okay. À plus.